You have been surrounded for too long, surrounded by voices, opinions, distractions, a constant stream of noise that steals the most precious thing you have, your own mind. You've been told who you should be, what you should want, how you should live, and slowly, without noticing, you became a reflection of everything around you. Instead of the source of something within you, there is a place where power is born, not borrowed, not given, born. A place most fear to enter, because once you step into it, you cannot hide. It is not in the crowd, not in the applause, not in the validation of others. It is in the silence. It is in solitude. Before we begin, if you are ready to reclaim the control you have lost, if you want to rise above the noise and remember what it means to be unshakable, subscribe now. Commit to your own strength, and like this video, so more can awaken with you. Now listen closely, because what follows is not entertainment. It is a weapon, one you are not yet unshakable, not because you lack ability, not because you lack intelligence, but because you have never learned to hear your own voice above the roar of the world. Imagine standing on a battlefield blindfolded, surrounded by chaos, the clash of steel, the screams, the thunder of footsteps. You're trying to decide where to strike. Every sound pulls your attention in a different direction. This is your life when you never retreat into yourself, when you never step back far enough to see. Solitude removes the blindfold. It pulls you out of the noise and forces you to face what's real. To the greatest generals, the wisest philosophers, the most dangerous minds, all shared one trait. They vanished before they returned. They withdrew from the noise, not because they were weak, but because they were sharpening their edge in silence. Picture yourself alone in a room. No phone, no music, no voices. The air is still. You can hear your own breathing. Hours pass like shadows sliding across stone. At first, the silence feels heavy, a weight pressing on your chest. But if you stay, if you refuse to break, the weight transforms. It becomes a weapon, and suddenly, you are not afraid of it. You are made by it. 3. You cannot master the world until you master yourself. And you cannot master yourself until you have faced yourself alone. Every flaw, every weakness, every lie you tell to make yourself feel safe, they will meet you in solitude. They will stand in front of you, unblinking. Most people run from this. They turn the music louder, fill their schedules, seek constant company, anything to avoid being alone with the truth. But the one who stays, the one who stands in the storm of his own mind without flinching, becomes untouchable. For power is not built in the presence of others. It is revealed there, but it is built in the hours no one sees, when you sit in the dark and demand answers from your own soul, when you strip away every excuse and ask only, who am I without them? That question is a blade. It cuts away illusions until nothing remains but truth. And truth, no matter how sharp, is the only ground you can truly stand on. Imagine you are in a high tower, the world stretching endlessly below. From here, every voice is distant, every opinion weightless. It is in this height, this perspective, that you can see clearly. This is what solitude does to your mind. 5. Picture yourself walking into a crowded room, the air thick with movement and sound. People pulling your attention, your energy, your focus. But inside you, there is stillness, a mountain unmoved by the wind. Nothing provokes you, nothing shakes you. You remain centered, because you have learned the discipline of being with yourself. This is the gift solitude gives. It is not loneliness. It is not isolation. It is sovereignty. It is the throne room of your mind, and you, the ruler who guards it against intrusion. 6. In solitude, you learn the art of detachment. You stop needing their praise. You stop fearing their criticism. The chain that tied you to their approval breaks, and suddenly you move through the world like a shadow, unbothered, untouchable. They cannot bribe you with attention. They cannot control you with shame. You have learned the rarest skill of all, to stand alone without fear. Think of the wolf who leaves the pack, not because he has been cast out, but because he is following a path the others cannot see. He hunts alone, sleeps under the cold sky, and when he returns, he is stronger, sharper, and no longer bound by the weakness of the group. 7. History bows to those who could be alone. The prophet in the desert, the warrior in exile, the thinker in his candlelit study. Each walked away before they walked above, and so must you. If you wish to rise, you must first vanish. There is a season for building and a season for appearing. The mistake most make is to appear before they are ready to step into the light. without the armor solitude gives them, and when the arrows come, they fall. But the one who has trained in silence is untouchable when the storm arrives. 8. There is a reason solitude terrifies the untrained mind. It strips away every distraction until only the truth remains. And truth can burn. It can dismantle the walls you built to protect your pride. It can show you that much of your strength has been borrowed. But if you stay, if you endure the fire of seeing yourself without distortion, you emerge as something different, something unshakable, something that cannot be taken from you. 9. Imagine a forge, a place of fire, smoke, and steel. The craftsman places raw metal into the flames, not to destroy it, but to shape it into something unbreakable. This is solitude. You step into the fire willingly, letting it strip away the impurities. The weak parts crack and fall away, and when you emerge, you are no longer the same person who entered. 10. You must understand, the world fears the man who is comfortable in solitude, because he cannot be manipulated. He does not crave the crowd. He does not beg for belonging. He moves with his own gravity, and others feel it without knowing why. This is the kind of presence that bends the room around you, and it is only born when you have spent enough time in the silence to hear your own voice clearly and obey it without hesitation. Asterisk, you know the theory. Now, you will learn the discipline. The world will not give you solitude. It will not hand you silence on a silver plate. You must take it. You must carve it out of the noise like a sculptor cutting stone. When your first step is withdrawal, not a complete disappearance, but a deliberate retreat. 1 hour a day, where no one can reach you, where no device blinks or vibrates in your pocket, where no voice enters but your own. It will feel unnatural at first. The body will itch to check, to scroll, to consume. That is the first sign you are doing it right, because you are starving an addiction, the addiction to distraction. Picture a warrior sharpening his blade. He does not do it while fighting. He steps away from the battle, into the tent, into the quiet, and works in silence until the edge is perfect. This hour is your tent. Your mind is the blade point to the second step is stillness. Many mistake solitude for simply being alone. But being alone while you drown in stimulation is not solitude. It is just isolation with noise. You must strip even the inner noise. No music, no podcasts, no endless inner chatter allowed to run wild. Sit. Feel the weight of your body in the chair or on the floor. Listen to the smallest sounds, your breath, the hum of distant life, the slow ticking of time. At first, your thoughts will riot. They will scream for attention. They will throw memories, fears, and regrets in your face. Do not fight them. Do not chase them. Let them pass like clouds over a black sea. This is how the mind learns its own obedience. 3. You must then confront the mirror, not the one that shows your face, the one that shows your truth. This is the most dangerous moment, because here, you will see the parts of yourself you've been hiding from, the laziness you disguise as rest, the fear you disguise as caution, the anger you disguise as righteous passion. Most turn away at this stage. They cannot bear the sight. But if you stay, if you hold your own gaze long enough, something will happen. The shame will burn away, and in its place will be clarity, not the kind given by others, but the kind forged in your own fire. For history remembers the ones who practiced this art. Marcus Aurelius, the ruler of an empire, writing to himself in the quiet before dawn. Miyamoto Musashi, the swordsman, wandering alone in the mountains, training his body and mind away from the eyes of men. Nikola Tesla, working through the night, uninterrupted by the social pull that devoured others. They understood that the world is loud and the truth is quiet, and only those who go where the truth lives can carry it back to the world. 5. You must also train your detachment in solitude. Think of the moments when people's words confound you, when their criticism cuts deeper than it should, when their praise inflates your pride until you depend on it. Solitude breaks this chain. When you spend enough time apart, their voices lose their weight. You realize they have always been speaking from their own fears, their own projections, their own limitations. It is like walking through a marketplace full of shouting merchants. At first, every voice feels urgent. Every deal sounds important. But after a while, you see the pattern, and the noise becomes just noise. You keep walking. 6. Your solitude must be deliberate, but it must also be uncomfortable. Do not always retreat to the same easy place. Seek different environments that challenge the mind. A quiet forest where the stillness feels endless. A dimly lit room where shadows stretch across the floor. A cold morning before the sun has risen. When the world still sleeps, each setting teaches you a different lesson. The forest teaches patience. The dark room teaches you to be at peace with the unseen. The cold morning teaches discipline before comfort. 7. This practice is not meant to make you antisocial. It is meant to make you unshakable when you return to the world. Imagine stepping back into the crowd after a week of daily solitude. Where once you would be swayed by their energy, you now remain grounded. Their urgency no longer infects you. Their noise no longer drowns you. Because you carry your silence inside you like armor. This is how you dominate without force. You do not need to raise your voice. You do not need to chase attention. Your stillness commands more respect than their volume. 8. A warning. Solitude will strip you of illusions you once clung to. The idea that you need certain people to survive. The belief that you must always be busy to be valuable. The fear that being alone means being forgotten. When these illusions die, a strange thing happens. You begin to feel lighter. Your decisions become sharper. Your movements more deliberate. You no longer waste energy on the meaningless, because now you know the difference between what is urgent and what is important. 9. In the practice of solitude, ritual is everything. If you treat it as random, you will abandon it when life grows chaotic. But if it becomes sacred, a non-negotiable part of your existence, it will become your foundation. Light a candle before you begin. Sit in the same position each day. Breathe the same way. Close your eyes at the same moment. These small acts signal to the mind, this is where we sharpen. This is where we build the invisible strength no one can steal. 10. Understand this. Solitude is not an escape from the world. It is a return to your center, so that when you face the world, you do so from a position of control. It is the difference between a soldier running from battle and a general stepping back to plan his next move. The soldier reacts. The general decides. You must become the general of your own life. And solitude is your war room. When you have mastered it, people will notice something in you they cannot name. A calm under pressure, an unshakable presence, a sense that nothing, no insult, no chaos, no temptation can pull you from yourself. They will not know that it was built in the hours when you sat alone in the dark, listening to the sound of your own breath and commanding your mind into silence. You think you know yourself. You think you understand the limits of your mind. But until you have faced it alone, without escape, you have only met a fraction of who you are. In solitude, the mind begins to speak, and at first, it whispers. It calls up memories you thought were buried. It reminds you of mistakes you swore you had forgotten. It tempts you with regrets, with visions of what could have been. Stay long enough, and the whispers become screams. It is here, in this rising storm, that most break. They run to the nearest distraction to drown the noise. But you will not run, because this is the point. This is the trial point when the first enemy you will meet is fear. Not the fear of the outside world, but the fear within. Fear of failure. Fear of not being enough. Fear that your life is smaller than you hoped it would be. In solitude, these fears have nowhere to hide. They stand in front of you, demanding your attention. Do not fight them with denial. Do not pretend they are not there. Look them in the eye and ask, what are you trying to protect me from? You will be surprised by the answer, because fear often wears the mask of protection. It keeps you from moving forward so you cannot be hurt, but in doing so, it kills you slowly. To the second enemy is doubt. It will crawl in like a shadow at the edge of your thoughts. It will tell you are wasting time, that you should be doing something, that sitting in silence is useless. This is the voice of a mind addicted to movement. It confuses motion with progress. You must teach it stillness. Imagine a predator crouched in the tall grass. It does not move for hours. It waits, it studies, and when it strikes, it does so with precision. This is the power solitude trains into you. You are not wasting time. You are sharpening the moment before impact. 3. The third enemy is desire. Not just the desire for pleasure, but for constant stimulation. Your mind will beg for a hit of entertainment, a shot of novelty, anything to break the tension of silence. It will tell you, check the phone, play some music, do something, anything. But here is the truth. If you cannot sit with yourself without craving escape, you are not free. You are a prisoner of endless consumption, and every prison has a key. Yours is discipline, the discipline to let the discomfort burn without running. For once you pass these gates, fear, doubt, desire, the silence begins to change. It no longer feels like emptiness. It feels like space, room to breathe, room to think without interference. This is where clarity lives, not in the frantic rush of doing, but in the deliberate act of being. It is here that the great decisions of your life will be born. Not from panic, not from pressure, but from a place so deep within you that it feels untouchable by the world. 5. You must also learn to use solitude as a weapon against confusion. When your path feels unclear, step away from the noise, shut it all out, every voice, every opinion, every distraction. Give yourself one question, write it down, then sit with it. Not for minutes, for hours. Let the mind circle it like a hawk. Observe the first answers it throws out. They will be shallow, automatic, conditioned by years of outside influence. Wait for the deeper answer, the one that does not come easy, the one that feels almost too simple to be true. That is your answer. That is the voice you have been drowning for years. 6. History is full of men and women who stepped into this silence to find direction. The strategist who walked alone by the sea before deciding the fate of nations. The monk who sat under the tree for days until the illusion shattered. The exiled leader who returned from isolation with a vision that would move millions. They all understood you do not find clarity in chaos. You create it in stillness. 7. But solitude is not just about thought. It is about power. When you train in silence, you train your ability to hold yourself. When the world attacks, you will not break. When temptation calls, you will not move. When fear presses against your chest, you will breathe through it. This is the strength that makes others uneasy, because they cannot read you, they cannot provoke you, they cannot pull you into their storms. You stand as you are, a pillar among shadows. 8. There is a paradox here. The more time you spend alone, the more powerful you become with others, because you no longer enter the room needing anything from them, and need is the root of weakness. Need makes you compromise. Need makes you betray yourself. But when you have built yourself in solitude, you walk in complete, and a complete man cannot be bought or broken. 9. To reach this state, you must make solitude a battlefield. Set challenges. Sit for longer than your comfort allows. Walk without speaking for an entire day. Spend a night without light, letting the darkness wrap around you. Fast from the noise and the rush of the world. These trials are not punishment. They are proof to yourself that you can endure. And when you endure here, the rest of life feels light. 10. When you master this, something strange will happen. You will stop fearing silence. You will crave it. You will look forward to the moments when it is just you and the sound of your own breath. Because in that space, you are untouchable. No one is pulling at you. No one is shaping you. You are pure. You are whole. You are free. And when you return to the noise, you will move through it like a blade through water, effortless, silent, unstoppable. You are not who you think you are. You are who the world has told you to be. Every glance you've received, every opinion you've absorbed, every expectation that was placed on you, they built a mask. And over time, you forgot it was a mask. At all. Solitude tears the mask away, not gently, not politely. It rips it from your face like a surgeon removing a rotten organ. And in the raw silence that follows, you meet the one person you've never truly known, yourself. The first stage of rebuilding is destruction. Do not fear it. In solitude, parts of you will die. The need to impress, the hunger for approval, the compulsion to explain yourself to everyone. These are weaknesses dressed as virtues. They will not survive the fire. Picture a sculptor facing a block of marble. Before the masterpiece can emerge, everything unnecessary must be cut away. The hammer falls again and again, each strike removing what does not belong. In solitude, you are both the sculptor and the stone. Once the noise is gone, you will begin to hear something deeper, your own rhythm. It is slow at first, like the faint beat of a distant drum, but it grows stronger each day you remain apart. This rhythm is not influenced by the rush of the world. It does not care for trends, for fashion, for fleeting approval. It is ancient. It is yours. And when you move in the world guided by this rhythm, people will feel it before they understand it. They will not know why, but they will sense a difference. You are no longer running on their time. You are running on your own. 3. In this stage, solitude becomes an amplifier. Every thought you have echoes louder. Every decision carries more weight. This is why you must guard your mind fiercely here. If you feed it poison, fear, envy, resentment, it will grow stronger. If you feed it discipline, vision, and purpose, then it will grow stronger. You must choose what to plant, because in solitude, there is no one else to blame for the harvest. For as your identity reforms, You will notice the world reacting differently to you, not because you have tried to impress it, but because you have stopped trying at all. There is a paradox in human nature. The one who does not seek validation often receives more of it than those who chase it. Why? Because independence is magnetic. Those who stand alone draw others in, not out of need, but out of the quiet gravity they carry. This is the beginning of presence, not the loud, desperate kind, the kind that bends a room without saying a word. 5. You must understand, presence is not charisma. Charisma fades when the mask cracks. Presence is what remains when the mask is gone. It is the sum of your silence, your discipline, your mastery over yourself. It cannot be faked. It cannot be bought. It can only be earned in the hours when no one is watching. Imagine a mountain in the middle of the sea. Waves crash against it day and night. Storms roar above it, but it stands unmoved. That is presence. That is what solitude builds. 6. This transformation will not be comfortable for those around you. Some will say you have changed. Some will try to pull you back into the noise, not because they wish you well, but because your growth exposes their stagnation. When you refuse to be ruled by the same distractions, you become a mirror they do not want to face. Do not explain yourself. Do not defend your silence. Those who cannot understand will never be convinced by words, and those who can understand do not need the explanation. 7. As your solitude deepens, you will learn to move differently, slower, more deliberate. No wasted motion. You will speak less, but each word will carry more weight. You will begin to notice the difference between reacting and deciding. The world is full of people reacting to fear, to gossip, to the constant stimulation of their screens. But you will choose. And choice is PowerPoint 8 in this stage. It is time to introduce what I call deliberate re-entry. You do not stay away forever. You step back into the world, but you do so on your own terms. You choose where you go, who you see, and what you give your attention to. Every interaction becomes a decision, not an accident. This is the difference between drifting in a river and steering your own ship. 9. Deliberate re-entry also reveals the depth of your transformation. You will see the noise for what it is. Frantic, aimless, desperate. What once pulled you in will now feel hollow, and you will realize just how much of your life was spent chasing things that never mattered. But here lies a danger: pride. The moment you believe yourself above others, you fall into a new trap. Solitude is not meant to make you arrogant. It is meant to make you sovereign, and sovereignty carries responsibility. 10. The final stage of this part of the journey is alignment, when your thoughts, words, and actions are one. No contradiction, no performance. You live as you are, without the need to hide, without the fear of being seen. This is the self the world cannot touch. This is the presence that commands without trying. It is not born in the spotlight. It is born in the dark, in the quiet hours, in the solitude you once feared and now cannot live without. When you reach this, you are ready for the last transformation, not just to rebuild yourself, but to wield the silence like a weapon, shaping the world around you without losing yourself to it. You must break the pattern of noise. Every day, you are bombarded with the opinions of those who have never walked your path. Their words shape the edges of your thoughts without your permission. But solitude is the reset. It is where you remove the fingerprints of others from your mind. It is where you return to the original blueprint of your own thinking. Think of a sculptor. The marble is your mind. The chisel is solitude. Without carving away the excess, the statue remains hidden. This is why so many people remain formless, undefined. They fear the chisel. They fear what they might find underneath. But here's the truth you need to swallow. You cannot become unshakable if you are still afraid of yourself. And that fear, it thrives in the crowd. It feeds on the distractions, the endless flood of content, the constant conversations about nothing. In solitude, that fear has nowhere to hide. And in facing it, you strip it of its power. Picture yourself in a silent room. The only sound is your own breath. At first, your mind will rebel. It will pull you toward your phone, toward your to-do list, toward anything but this moment. But stay, just stay. You will begin to notice things you've ignored for years. A thought that has been whispering to you, a vision you've buried, a hunger for more that refuses to die. This is the treasure buried in silence. Most people will never find it. They will keep running, chasing, scrolling, consuming until their final breath. But you You will step into the arena of the mind and face yourself without flinching. You will emerge sharper, calmer, more dangerous, not in violence, but in precision. Your words will cut. Your actions will carry weight. Your presence will silence rooms. Remember this, a mind trained in solitude is like a blade kept in oil, always sharp, never rusted. It does not dull with time, because it is maintained in the conditions that strengthen it. The moment you compromise, the moment you return to the noise, you begin to corrode, and corrosion is slow, invisible, until one day you break under the pressure you thought you could handle. The world is not waiting for your greatness. It does not care if you reach your potential. That is why you must care more than anyone else ever will. Solitude is not a luxury. It is the furnace in which the steel of your character is forged. It is the proving ground where you either master your mind or become a slave to it. So take this seriously. Your transformation will not be loud. It will not be public. It will not be announced. It will be built piece by piece in the moments when no one is watching. And when you finally emerge, people will call it sudden, but you will know the truth. You will know the years of silence that shaped you. Now, close the door. Turn off the noise. Sit and listen, not to me, not to them, but to the voice inside that has been waiting for you all along. Asterisk, and now, you stand here, not in the past, not in the future, but in this exact moment, the only one you will ever truly own. You have seen the truth. You have felt the weight of the illusions you carried, and you have begun to release them, one by one. But remember, letting go is not a single act. It's a discipline, a daily war against the claws of your own mind. Every morning, the old chains will try to wrap themselves around you again, and every morning, you must break them again. This is the cost of freedom. This is the path of those who refuse to be ruled by fear, by regret, by illusions. So leave this moment with one truth engraved into your bones. The past has no claim on you. The future is just a shadow. Only now, only this breath, only this step exists. And if you own it, completely, fearlessly, you will own yourself, and a man who owns himself cannot be destroyed. Let go, or remain a prisoner forever.